everybody. So you've come to join me for chapter 4 of our story, The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark. Now, just in case you missed the other chapters, we are reading about a barn owl, a baby barn owl, and he's called Plop. Now, as you can tell from the title, Plop is afraid of the dark. And that's a problem because owls are nocturnal, which means they sleep in the day and they do their normal day-to-day business in the night time. And the night time is dark. So it's proving a problem for Plop. Now in chapters 1 to 3, Plop learned that the dark is exciting, the dark is kind, and the dark is fun. In chapter 4, he's going to learn that the dark is necessary. Now I hope you're sitting comfortably, everyone. I've got Scrumpy here on my lap, and I've got Bramble. He's just down here out of sight, but he's quite enjoying the story, so he said he'd stay for a while. If this is a recording and you're watching me on a recording, you might want to stop me and go and get your cats and rabbits and dogs for a cuddle as well. Maybe your teddy bears and your blankets, which I've still got, but Scrumpy's lying right with me. So chapter 4, the dark is necessary. Plop asked, "What's next?" a great many times during that night. He sat just outside the nest hole making loud snoring noises. He was not sleepy, just hungry. Owls always snore when they're hungry. "Oh, Plop, I shall be glad when you can hunt for yourself," said Mrs. Barn Owl wearily when Plop had gulped down his 7th or his 8th dinner that night. He'd actually had a small baked potato as well when he was learning about the dark being fun. "What's next?" said Plop. "Nothing," said his mother. "You can't possibly have room for anything else." "I have," said Plop. "My mouse place is filled up. My grasshopper place isn't." "Well, that's just too bad," said Mrs. Barn Owl, stretching and settling herself down to roost. Mrs. Barn Owl, Mr. Barn Owl, swooped in, clapping his wings. He dropped something at Plop's feet. Plop swallowed it in one gulp. It was delicious and slippery. "That was nice," said Plop. "What was it?" "A fish," said his father. "I like fish," said Plop. You guessed it. "What's next?" "Bed," said Mr. Barn Owl. He kissed his wife good night, or good day, as it was the morning, and settled himself in to roost. Plop made a few hopeful snoring noises, but it was clear that his feast was over. He wobbled into the nest hole and was soon fast asleep himself. It was well into the afternoon when he woke up. He came out onto the landing branch and looked around. His parents were still drawn up, as still as carvings, but the squirrels from downstairs were chasing each other up and down the trunk. Their tails were flying behind them. Plop watched them for a bit. One of them scuttled along the branch just below Plop's and then stopped abruptly and began to wash his face. He did not know that Plop was there. After all, owls are supposed to be asleep during the daytime. Plop couldn't resist it. He bent down through the leaves and let out his very loudest "Eek!" The squirrel jumped in the air like a jack-in-the-box. His ears a-quiver and his eyes large like marbles. He flashed down the trunk and vanished into his hole. Plop jumped up and down with delight, but of course he had done it again. He'd woken up his mother. "Plop!" "Yes, Mummy?" "Go and find out some more about the dark, please, dear." "What now?" "Now," said his mother. "Go and ask that girl what she thinks about it." "What girl?" "That little girl sitting down there, the one with the ponytail." "Little girls don't have tails." "This one does. Go on now, or you'll miss her." So, wonder what his landing will be like this time. Plop shut his eyes, took a deep breath and fell off his branch. His landing was a little better than usual. He bounced 3 times and rolled gently towards the little girl's feet. a woolly ball, cried the little girl. Actually, I'm a barn owl, said the woolly ball. An owl? Are you sure? She said, putting out a grubby finger and prodding Plop's round, fluffy tummy. Quite sure, said Plop, backing away and drawing himself up tall. Well, there's no need to be huffy, said the little girl. You bounced. You must expect to be mistaken for a ball if you will go bouncing about the place. I've never met an owl before. Do you say to-wit-a-woo? No, said Plop. That's tawny owls. Oh, you can't be a proper owl then. Proper owls say to-wit-a-woo. I am a proper owl, said Plop, getting cross. I am a barn owl, and barn owls go eek. Ooh, don't do that, said the little girl, putting her hands over her ears. Well, you shouldn't have made me cross then, said Plop. Anyway, you can't be a proper girl. What did you say? Asked the little girl, taking her hands off her ears. I said you're not a proper girl. Girls don't have tails. Squirrels have tails. Rabbits have tails. Mice have... This is my ponytail, said the little girl. It's the longest one in the class, she added proudly. But why do you want to look like a pony? I can think of lots of reasons why. Because, oh, it's just fashion, said the girl. Don't you know anything? Not much, agreed Plop. Mummy says that's why I'm afraid of the dark, because I don't know anything about it. Do you like the dark? The little girl looked at Plop in surprise. Well, of course I like the dark, she said. There has to be dark. Dark is necessary. Dark is necessary. What? Necessary. We need it. We can't do without it. It is necessary, Scrumpy. That's when we do our sleeping, isn't it? I could do without it, said Plop. I could do without it very nicely. Father Christmas wouldn't come, said the little girl. You'd have an empty stocking on Christmas Day. I don't wear stockings, said Plop. And who is Father Christmas? Well, Father Christmas is a jolly old man with a white beard. He wears a red suit with a matching hat and black boots. Is that fashion? Said Plop. No, said the little girl. It's just what he always wears in pictures of him, although I don't know how anybody knows that because nobody's ever seen him. We get special visits, don't we, children? What? Said Plop. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Father Christmas only comes in the dark. He comes in the middle of the night, riding through the sky on a sledge pulled by reindeer. Dear, said Plop, in the sky? Magic, dear, said the little girl. Everything about Father Christmas is magic, otherwise he couldn't possibly get around to all the children in the world in one night, or have enough toys for them all in his sack. You didn't tell me about his sack. Well, he has a sack full of toys and he puts them in children's stockings. In their stockings, said Plop, with their feet in them? There can't be very much room. No, silly. We hang empty stockings at the ends of our beds for him to fill up. I usually borrow one of Mummy's, but last year I hung my tights up. And did he fill them? Breathed Plop. No, he only filled one leg, but he did put a sugar mouse in the other. I'd rather have a real mouse, said Plop. Well, so would I, really, said the girl. I wanted a white mouse, but Mummy says if a mouse comes into the house, she will leave. And I suppose Father Christmas didn't want me to be without my mummy. Plop was thinking. I don't think owls have Father Christmas. Not barn owls, anyway. And I don't have a stocking to hang up. "Oh, what a shame," said the little girl. "Everybody should have Father Christmas. It's so exciting waking up in the morning and feeling all the bumps in your stocking and trying to guess what they are." "Oh, stop it," wailed Plop. "I wish he would come to me." "Shut your eyes," the little girl said. "Go on, shut them and you might get a surprise." Plop shut his eyes tightly and waited. The little girl pulled off her Wellington, took off a sock. She was wearing 2 pairs because the boots were a bit big for her. I bet lots of you do that as well. "Open your eyes," she said to Plop, holding up the white sock while she stood on one leg and wiggled her foot back into the Wellington boot. Plop opened his eyes and then shut them again because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Don't you want it?" said the little girl. "I know it's a little bit holy, but I don't expect Father Christmas is going to mind." "Oh, thank you," said Plop, taking it with his beak and then holding it with his foot. "Thank you very much. I'll go and hang it up at once." No, not yet. You'll have to wait until Christmas Eve. Anyway, I better go now. It's nearly my tea time. Goodbye. I do hope Father Christmas comes to you." "Goodbye," said Plop, bobbing his funny little bow. "You are very kind. You are a proper girl. And you have a very nice eek," said the little girl. "I'm going to practice it to make my brothers jump. Eek!" She ran off and Plop could hear her eeking right across the field. Plop picked up his sock with his beak and flew up to the landing branch. "Well," said his mother. He began with his mouth full of sock, so he put it down and tried again. The little girl says dark is necessary because of Father Christmas coming." What do you think, Plop? "I still do not like it at all, but I'm going to hang this sock up on Christmas Eve." And Plop took his sock away and put it very carefully in the corner of his nest hole, ready for Christmas. And that is the end of chapter 4 of our story, The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark. So I hope I'll see you again when it's time for chapter 5. Until then, from me and Bramble and Scrumpy, take care, stay safe everybody, see you soon.